Okay, in 2.7, we're going to find the derivative beyond the power rule. So we're going to look at sine x, cosine x, e to the x, and ln of x, or natural log of x. Okay, before we do that, I'm going to remind you some of the values. Okay, the first one, the natural log of 1 is 0. The reason it's 0 is because e to the 0 is 1, and this is saying e to the 0 equals 1. Okay, natural log of 0, it does not exist. You can only log positive values because e to the something can only give a positive number. Okay, ln of e is going to be 1. Why? Because e to the something gives you e. It's going to be e to the 1. Okay, now if I do e to the ln of a, e and ln are e and natural log are inverse functions. So e to the ln of a is a. Similarly, if I do the natural log of e to the a comes down, and the natural log of e is 1, so this just turns into a again. Okay, now let's look at the actual derivatives now. Okay, the derivative of sine x is actually cosine x. Okay, the derivative of cosine of x is negative sine x. Okay, the derivative of a to the x is a to the x times ln of a, or the natural log of a. Okay, now the derivative of e to x is actually the same rule. It just happens to have an e here. So instead of a to the x, I'm going to write e to the x. And then if I do the natural log of e, the natural log of e is 1. So this would be e to the x times 1, so I'm not going to bother writing the 1. So this rule is the same as this rule, but if I put an e here, it turns into this. Okay, now the derivative of the log base a of x is 1 over x times ln of a. Okay, now let's look at the last one. This is the derivative of the log base e of x. Okay, now the log base e of x is a very specific derivative. Log base e, that's just an ln, natural log. Okay, instead of writing log base e, we just say ln of x because it's easier. Okay, this is the same as this formula, except the base happens to be e. So it's going to be 1 over x times the natural log of e. Remember, the natural log of e is 1, which is why the derivative of ln x is just 1 over x. Okay, yes, you are going to have to memorize these. We have to memorize this one and this one and this one. This one you don't have to memorize as long as you know it came from this. And then you're going to memorize this one. And then same, you don't have to memorize this one, but it came from this one. Okay, let's go ahead and use some of these rules to find the derivatives. So over here with the example, I'm going to do a first. So the derivative of f of x. So f prime of x equals 2 times the derivative of sine x is cosine x. So this is 2 cosine x. Plus 5 times the derivative of e to the x. Derivative of e to the x is actually e to the x. Okay, we're going to go ahead and look at the next one. Okay, this time f of x equals 3 to the x minus 4 times cosine x. Okay, so the derivative of f of x, f prime of x equals, okay, the derivative of 3 to the x, this is the format, it's going to be 3 to the x times ln of 3. Okay, let's bring down the next time. I have minus 4 times the derivative of cosine x. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. So if I do negative 4 times negative sine, it's going to make it positive 4 sine x. Okay, let's look at C. f of x equals the log base 2 of x minus sine x. Okay, the derivative of log base 2 of x, here it is. It's going to be 1 over x times ln of 2 minus the derivative of sine x. The derivative of sine is cosine. So derivative of sine x is cosine x. Okay, and then let's look at D. One last question. Okay, for D, it says if f of x equals 3 cosine x plus sine x over 2, find f prime of pi. So I'm going to find the derivative again. I'm going to rewrite this a little bit. Just because I'm going to make this 1/2 sine x, so it's more obvious that 1/2 is the coefficient. Although I could probably have done that without doing that. Okay, so the derivative of f of x, or f prime of x, is 3 times the derivative of cosine is negative sine. So 3 times negative sine x is negative 3 sine x. Plus 1/2 times the derivative of sine x. The derivative of sine x is cosine x. Okay, now that I found f prime of x, I'm going to find f prime of pi. Okay, we're not going to blank, but pi is over here on the unit circle. The ordered pair for pi, -1, 0. Okay, so f prime of pi is going to be -3 times the sine of pi is the y value, 0, plus 1/2 times the cosine of pi, which is -1. So that's going to be 0 minus 1/2. So f prime of pi is -1/2.